What's up, everybody? It's your boy Pluggo. We are live doing a War Reports live after AEW Rampage, and I strap in because we're talking Kiera Hogan and Jade Cargill. That's why you're all, that's why you're all here.
That's why we're all here.
We got a full house tonight. I got Alex, Astrid, and Parrish, our Love Wrestling champion.
Oh, cut it out.
So before we even dive into why everyone's here, and I know everybody knows why they're here. How is everybody doing today? We'll start. I don't know how y'all do this with all these people. Alex, we'll just start with you. Go around the horn.
Doing pretty good. I mean, this is the first time you and I have actually done a show together. So
yes,
I'm excited, and we got something very interesting to talk about. Moxley versus Daniel Garcia. What a banger of a match, and we're gonna get to that.
Don't sleep on Moxley and Garcia, bro.
I'm not.
Parrish champion, how are you, sir?
I am doing a little bit of all right. I woke up on clobbering time this morning. How about you?
I'm always on clobbering time, brother. Astrid, what's going on? Clearly, I'm stalling because I forgot to send out the link.
Hey.
I'm still processing, I guess, in that part of it. Getting goosebumps. I try not to cry. I almost cried, but I didn't, surprisingly. But I'm still there.
Yeah, Lucha Brothers versus Private Party was really good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was amazing. Match of the night.
Listen, let's just get right into it. Chicago United Center, the rumors were rampant that the one, the only, CM Punk was going to make his return. They start off the show, the CM Punk chants are going wild out the gate. So I'm sitting there going, they're going to hold this entire show hostage. And I had it in my mind that this was going to end the show. Because if you've watched the War Reports in the past, I've been very adamant. All he had to do was stand at the end of the ramp. His music hits, that's all you need. And you sold the tickets all out, right? But no, they played it smart, in my opinion. They went ahead. They had him come out right away. His music hits. The place goes insane. I don't think I've seen a wrestling moment like that in quite some time. I know Cena just returned not too long ago, and that was a huge pop. But even this was deafening. So
I would go back all the way to Edge. I think that's the only modern-day comparison.
The Royal Rumble?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a big one, too. So he comes out, and it's just pandemonium. I'm like, oh, shit. so I'm gonna say right now, because this is the War Report, it's JPJ's thing. I'm doing my thing. We're all here today. I missed some stuff at this show. I cried. I got emotional. CM Punk, on a personal note, is my favorite wrestler of all time. So we're just going to discuss it, guy. I'm not going to do this around. How did you feel? Who wants to start? Oh my God!
I say ladies first.
Yeah. Astrid, how were you feeling about CM Punk's return?
Funny enough, I was helping a friend, so I was doing a podcast, and my brother was knocking on the wall, and I'm like, "What's happening?" I'm like, "There's no way he opened the show. There's no way." And then I hear the music, and I'm like, "I can't believe I missed the first 2 minutes of him." And I tried to get on the TNT app, and it wouldn't load on time either, so that didn't help. But thankfully, I had time to run out and still watch him. But seeing him go down the ramp, hugging the fans, seeing obviously he took in the crowd chanting his name, and it was amazing. I'm like, there's no other way to describe it. I did think he was gonna end the show and end it on that high note, but it's just amazing to open the show with him because it still was unexpected.
Yeah, to that point, I think they did the right thing. Don't hijack the show because we're not going to get too deep into some of these matches, but Private Party and Jungle Boy, if they would have had to wrestle an opener with CM Punk chants, it would have probably diffuse that match because it was a good match, but it wasn't. CM Punk returning to the wrestling ring. Oh man, Alex.
Sorry.
Barish, Alex,
No,
somebody.
I just like the. Well, you did give it an open forum.
I did.
Yeah.
I am all over the place. You can't hold me. I'm emotional. I'm on a high. I'm all over the place right now.
I'm stuck in a glass cage of emotion. But I like how he completely zinged WWE without even mentioning WWE. He's like, on August 13th, 2005, I left wrestling, skipping his entire time in WWE. Like, just a great old attitude adjustment. No, wait, it was an FU to WWE, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. Because, well, I was hoping he was just going to say love wrestling because, I mean, I thought our contract with them was a little bit better. But, I mean, first time back, he muffled the words. He had to add professional, so we'll let him be.
You knew we blew the budget last night on Between Two Beards. We couldn't lock it in for tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, well, Spencer's in Vegas, so I mean, he put it all on, black and red. So I mean, I figured, why not? I mean,
maybe he wanted.
He bought some stocks in ice cream bars, and it went through the roof.
All right, Alex, what did you think?
I mean, definitely, like we have all, the wrestling world has been waiting with bated breath for 7 years now, just waiting for the special moment when CM Punk makes his return to the ring. And we saw him in UFC, we saw him in movies, we saw him work with comic books, and it just never worked for any of us. And just seeing it tonight was just an extraordinary moment. Like, I had to go do laundry today, and I was making sure I was home to watch Rampage tonight at 10 o'clock. And I thought they were going to do something completely different. I thought they were going to kind of give us a swerve, maybe have somebody dressed up as CM Punk, maybe have somebody come out and say, oh, you thought you were expecting somebody else, yeah? But just to have him off the jump, just come out, have that first opening segment, just him coming out, messing around with the crowd, getting in the ring, and then cutting the commercial, and then coming back and having him talk is just so surreal. It was one of those moments, like you said, like Edge, or the moment that Daniel Bryan announced that he could come back to wrestling. Just something so special, and I know I've been waiting for it, and all of us have been waiting for it. So it's great to see him finally back and where he belongs, in a professional wrestling ring.
Oh my, absolutely. And he comes out and he takes his time. He's embracing the crowd. You could tell he genuinely wanted to be there. I love that he put Britt Baker over.
Oh yeah.
He said, "Thank you for making me feel like Britt Baker." And to Parrish's point, the comment, he said, I was sick for so long and I was trying to get better. And when I left professional wrestling in 2005, I'm back in 2021. Taking a shot at WWE without taking a shot at the WWE is masterful CM Punk work, and that's why you bring him back. He calls out Darby Allin because Darby Allin has called him out, and we're going to get that match at All Out on September 5th. That's an interesting matchup. I like that a lot because Darby is over right now, and obviously so is CM Punk. So you're going to have two baby faces going at it, a young guy versus the old legend, so to speak. I guess you could call CM Punk a legend at this point. It
was in this little ticker, yeah. Professional wrestling legend. So.
Legend. Was it? I was too busy wiping tears, man.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this?
When I go on Twitter, not just CM Punk is trending, Cult of Personality is trending, Clobbering Time is also trending. So you got three. I think he's a big deal right now. I think people remembered him. To say the least.
And for the people that don't, come on. I think that's just throwing shade. Like, people are like, he doesn't matter. He's not relevant anymore. Dude's trending 3 top trends. We got Ed hopping in the comments.
And the Pro Wrestling Tees website's not working.
Huh?
I'm trying to order a shirt,
Yeah, oh, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Put over Darby and hit those. Yep. Yeah, he said in this promo, I want to work with this young talent. I want to be here. I wish this young talent that AEW has was around 10 years ago to work with, so why not be here? Why not make it happen? He was also apologetic to the fans that he may or may not have slighted, or people he may or may not have slighted in his tenure with, I would assume, the WWE exit. And you know what? I'm glad he's back. It's good for business. Can you believe it's SummerSlam weekend, and the biggest story, no matter what happens for the rest of the weekend, is CM Punk returning to a wrestling ring for AEW of all places.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see if anything else happens, because I think no matter what, everything's going to be compared to CM Punk, because he does cast quite the shadow. It just shows that somebody who as polarizing as Punk, who was away for as long as he was, is still something very meaningful, and that's an act that you don't need. I mean, WWE's bringing in the Goldbergs thinking, okay, this is what we do to bring fans back. No, it's not. It just shows the difference of whose finger is on the pulse between WWE and AEW right now, because AEW clearly made a big statement today with CM Punk in its company.
Yeah, and you got to think that they're scrambling at Titan Towers to figure out what can they do to capitalize or do better than CM Punk. But it's not going to happen. There's nothing that they could do.
That was going to be my follow-up question to the
sorry to say you thunder.
They need to make sure they re-sign Bryan Danielson.
No, that was rumors are he's already locked into an AEW contract. So
or even re-sign Adam Cole and give him a good push.
In the world of pro wrestling, is nothing's for sure until you actually see it.
Yes, that is absolutely true. Just like CM Punk saying he was never returned to a wrestling ring. So in the CM Punk promo, in his return, to Alex's point, he said, "I'm free. There's a long story. I'm not done telling it." But I'll be available Fridays, Wednesdays, some Saturdays, some Sundays. So and then they announced he's going to be there Dynamite Wednesday, his first Dynamite appearance. If you're the WWE, which I don't want to, we're going to, you know what? I'm throwing it out the window. I want to make this an all wrestling thing. I'm going to talk about WWE on an AEW show. Fight me, guys, in the comments. Do you do some stuff to try to draw some headlines? Do you stack Raw? Do you do something crazy at SummerSlam? Are you now scrambling going, that Dynamite is probably going to draw some viewers?
I mean, if I was WWE, the one thing I would do with all the rumors surrounding the Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair match maybe not happening at SummerSlam, I would make sure that, Becky Lynch is right there, but I'd also make sure that you're one of your hottest talents, maybe like an Io Shirai. Maybe she walks out of SummerSlam, the new SmackDown Women's Champion. You got to think outside the box if you're WWE. You got to try something different, and you got to make it you got to make it look like you're actually willing. When something big happens somewhere else where they're saying, no, we're taking your viewership, you're like, you know what? We're going to adapt and we're going to go in this direction then. Vince McMahon has to reach down and find them, and really play ball if he wants to actually get back ahead. Because right now, if you ask me, he's losing the battle.
Astrid, what do you think?
Yeah.
How do I follow up with that? No, I'm kidding. No, I was thinking the same thing.
That's why Parrish is the champ, man.
No, I was thinking something on the same line. Yeah. But I was thinking you had to have somebody like Becky Lynch as backup, and who knows what else is backup at this point for this weekend, because I'm like, how do you top CM Punk? I'm like, it's really hard. It's challenging to do that at this point.
The thing that's out there is the John Cena winning that championship for the 17th time, and I don't know if there's anything the WWE can do in the next 12 hours that's going to eclipse what they just did.
So the thing is, I just read before we went on air is that they added a stipulation to that match that if Reigns loses, he's leaving WWE. So is that going to be the thing? And what are they going to do if he does lose the title?
This is where WWE shoots himself in the foot. They make their show predictable. And that's at fault them thinking their ego is bigger than the fan base and their wants, their needs. Because what happens if SummerSlam's a dud on Saturday? Like, it's very possible that it's a completely dud, and you never know. It's a live crowd that could react very negatively if the show is bad. And if that's the case, Vince McMahon, if he's not listening, is in serious trouble.
Stone Cold from the Goose, honk, honk, honk. But yeah, I don't think Stone Cold's wrestling anytime soon.
No.
So CM Punk is back. The show, like I said,
You gotta get that. You gotta get a deal with New Japan. If WWE really wants to do something big, you strike a deal up with New Japan. Like Tama Tonga should be. Maybe Tama Tonga is the guy who runs Roman Reigns out of WWE, and maybe we get Roman Reigns against Tama Tonga at New Japan Pro Wrestling. That would be pretty epic.
Yeah, I mean they got to do something. I mean, because right now AEW is white hot. That building was electric. CM Punk gave away ice cream bars to everyone in attendance. I wonder how much that cost him. He hit all the spots. He did all the song and dance. The music was perfect. The shirt looked good. Parrish is rocking his CM Punk shirt tonight, representing. And then they had a card. I don't know. Did you guys watch the rest of the card? Like Christian put over, cut a promo and said he was gonna beat Kenny Omega again. He's in his head. He did the Edge, I'm in your head thing. The Private Party Jungle Boy match was great, but it's not CM Punk returning.
I am going to say something, though, about Private Party because they really did not connect with me at all tonight. And I don't know if it's the act or if it's what they're doing. Like, I just don't know what it is. Maybe it was who they're against. But I just knew from bell to bell they weren't winning this match. And I think they didn't do a good enough job of making me believe that they had a chance to win. Maybe that just came because we just saw Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus come off with an awesome tag match against the Young Bucks. But there needs to be more aggressiveness and more desperation out of Private Party for me if they want to be taken seriously in this tag division, because those are 4 teams, and we're not even talking about Santana Ortiz. We're not even talking about FTR, who are, to me, 2 of the best tag teams in AEW.
Yeah, though the Private Party thing for me, I was thinking kind of the same thing tonight. They need to leave the Hardy family office. I think that they were better off by themselves. I'm not a huge fan of the Hardy family office. And the problem is Private Party is extremely talented, but Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus are so over.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where you're going into that probably knowing you're going to take the L. But they just got to sell it better.
Yeah. Do we think it's going to be against Lucha Brothers, or do we think it's going to be against Varsity Blondes?
I think it's going to be against Lucha Brothers.
Lucha, yeah.
Yeah.
To have a pop off before a big main event like that, it's got to be Lucha Brothers versus Jurassic Express.
Yeah.
Just because, we saw a ladder match between Young Bucks and Lucha Bros, and we know the winner becomes it's going to be a cage match. Right, so is this now going to be a second chapter to their story in terms of this? Is that what they're planning? I
would say so.
Do we think that?
I think that if they're going Rampage, trying to boost up the Rampage numbers, because they did say this would be on Rampage, I think you go with the bigger names just for now, try to get that show off. I think tonight's rating will be fine.
Yeah,
I have a feeling. What do you guys think on that? You think? Private Party. Wow, I'm all over the place. Not Private Party. We were just talking the Lucha Bros. You think the Lucha Bros Young Bucks is the way to go, Astrid?
I feel like Jungle Boy is so over, and you want to capitalize on that right now, and that's the reason why I thought that we're gonna win the match they had. So that I will go with them, but if it's between Jurassic Express and the Lucha Brothers, it's a win-win for me in my book. So it doesn't matter to me who wins on that one, to be honest.
Yeah, either way, either tag team that goes against the Young Bucks, like I said the other night on the War Report, is they're going to have one hell of a match with the Young Bucks in a steel cage. I mean, just imagine the spots and the high spots that they could come up with. But for me, I'm going to put my money on Jurassic Express. I think they're a little bit hotter than Lucha Brothers right now.
Yeah. Well, that then relies the rub to the just Jungle Boy take another high profile loss. he's always taking high profile L's.
Could this be the time he gets the win though?
I say that every time.
I think this might be a bigger question, but do we think this is the time that the Young Bucks drop the tag titles?
I would think so. I think I think it's getting to that time where they need to do something different. I think you get Omega losing the title, maybe not, but I think just the Elite kind of crumbling, downfall slowly is a good story to tell.
You mentioned Omega losing the title. I mean, I think we all think Adam Page is going to be that guy.
If he's available, he's
now,
not. He's got some time off. I think he just had a kid, so that's why they swerved to Christian Cage at All Out.
My question is, CM Punk did say that he is here for all the new guys.
Yeah.
Could he be a reason to why, say, an Adam Page defeats a Kenny Omega? Is this not like maybe something where we see an evolution of Punk actually maybe helping out the young guys moving forward? Because he flat out said he wants to start by helping out Darby Allin by challenging him. Could we not see CM Punk align himself with some of these new guys as well?
I don't know if he's going to align himself necessarily, but I definitely think work with them in some way.
I don't see CM Punk being like Christian Cage and buddying up with Jurassic Express or Matt Hardy, but I see him, maybe doing something in some capacity with younger talent where it's not so blatant, like, oh, he's the manager.
Because you have to think a CM Punk Kenny Omega match is bound to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think you would not do that. You'd be
just
crazy.
Like in my opinion, a CM Punk Colt Cabana segment is bound to happen.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Oh,
and if we wanted to talk about swerves, how great would it be if Cult of Personality hits and out comes Colt Cabana? Oh, that would be the one time where I would think a Chicago crowd boos one of their own.
I guess I'm not surprised we didn't see some Colt Cabana tonight in Chicago. Maybe he got on Dark, but that would instantly make him heel.
Didn't they have heat though? Him and Punk.
Yes, that's my point. That is my point. Okay. They were in a lawsuit with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Parrish's over here just trying to stir the pot and get everybody.
Oh yeah.
What about the doctor? Isn't Dr. Samson the one in AEW too?
Is he? I don't know. Is he?
I thought he was still with WWE.
Yeah. Either way, I would hope that he would squash that beef with Cabana or something, or they put the differences aside because they know there's a lot of money to be made. Even Cole Cabana, who's mad at CM Punk, has to know CM Punk being in AEW is what's best for business. To steal a phrase from the other guys, but I would hope that he would go. Not ruin his easy paycheck. It's not like Cabana has to do a ton of stuff.
It's just one of those confrontations that I think needs to happen now in AEW.
Mm-hmm. We'll see.
This is going to be so interesting moving forward, just the possibilities. But, I mean, we got to get to All Out first because who knows how CM Punk is even going to look in the ring. Because the last time we saw him do anything in any sort of competition, it was not nice.
That's different.
No, but I mean, it's been 11 years.
That's a good question. How do you guys think he is going to look? Do you think? I mean, I don't think it might have some ring rust for sure. Maybe not prime CM Punk, but I would assume if you're putting him in a spot with Darby Allin, he can still go.
I mean, he had been training for the heel show too, so he's been in the ring the past couple of weeks, probably months.
Yeah.
Like, I personally think he's going to be okay. I don't think we're going to see the same Punk we saw 11 years ago. I think there's going to be some changes. He's going to get like the GTS and the Anaconda Vice in. But other than that, I mean, I think you can expect to see a little bit of change.
They say keep Punk away from Cabana.
I really think they will, but I just know that everyone on the internet at some point is going to be like, well, come on.
Yeah. All right, Alex, you were saying before.
I think this is CM Punk we're talking about. This is the best in the world we're talking about. I think he's going to be absolutely fine. It's going to be one match to see, and it's going to I'm waiting to see who he works with in all of AEW, not just the Darby Allins or the Kenny Omegas, but just everybody. Every match that he puts on is going to be a banger of a match.
That could be a good little dictating, though, because like he said he wanted to come back and work with new guys. He's already singled out Darby Allin. Who do we want to see him work inside that new guy realm?
Dang, Parrish, it's like you got my notes and you took them. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, like I want to see him wrestle, and I've said this probably on every show that we've had since the rumors struck. I'd watch him wrestle a chair. I don't care. He is my favorite. No, but like I want to see that MJF. I want to see Jungle Boy. I want to see Darby, which we're gonna get. And then I want to see him work his way up a little bit. Hey, John Silver, that would just be fun. Just to have that. Which then you could have the Cabana in the background thing if you want. Mm-hmm. But Astrid, how about you? What are you thinking? Who do you want him to face?
I'll say MJF just because the promos are going to be epic on that part for sure. Aside from that, obviously I had to watch him with Kenny at least. It has to happen at some point. Yeah, but I think MJF would be like my top one. Another one that maybe could be interesting with me would be Sammy Guevara too. I would like to see him mix it up with Puck there a little bit.
Cody, what about Cody? I'd like to see that. I think that'd be fun. That kind of storytelling. Now, do you think you guys think the CM Punk signing opens? Is he going to be one of those forbidden door guys, or is he going to stay exclusive to AEW? Do you think I don't know what kind of contract he signed. Do you think we'll see him go New Japan, or do you think we'll see him go anywhere else?
I think you got to make sure that his first few appearances feel special before you overplay a card. I think that's the smart way to go about it, because the first two, well, now I guess three, but like he comes back in Chicago. He first mentions he's going to wrestle first time in Chicago, and then they're like, oh yeah, he's going to be in Dynamite in Milwaukee. So, I don't know. Like, I just think before you oversaturate him, you want to make sure that you get your money's worth out of the buzz that you have with him. A guy that I'm really surprised nobody's really said yet is an Adam Page for him to work, because I think he's the perfect guy to establish Adam Page as a guy ready for a world title. But even that, like, I'd be very, very interested to see Andrade and CM Punk.
That'd be a good one. Oh, yeah. There's so many possibilities with CM Punk. Like he could, if let's say he's 80% of what he was in his prime, he could work 95% of this roster and it'd be a good match. You know what I mean? There might be, I don't know how he would fare with the Big Show, or I'm sorry, Paul White, if he's still wrestling. But she is it all out, so it's possible. But I don't want to see that one.
But then you kind of also kind of circulated there too. Like, what about a QT Marshall? Like, that's also a guy that, it seems like he needs the right guy to be elevated. And I really don't know if Paul White's going to be that guy. We'll find out this Wednesday on Dynamite. But
he might heel turn by then.
He might cry as well. We don't know.
But much like Paul White, I've got an ironclad contract here. That's why Spencer hasn't fired me yet. And before we keep going, I'd be not doing my job for the old boss if I didn't mention RK Athletics. Please go follow them on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook for all your workout needs. They are doing big things, and they are big time sponsors here at Love Wrestling.
I'm actually going to help you out there, Pluggo.
Oh,
that is where
it is.
Hey,
The opposite side.
We're getting bougie over here, man. I didn't even know that existed. I'm sitting over here looking.
I added it the other day.
That's why we keep the champ, the Love Wrestling champ here.
It is powered by Elite.
Oh, hey, maybe Punk's all elite. No, I don't know. No.
Confirmed.
Look, this is a big night in wrestling history. It's a fantastic night. We had a killer, like I said, we talked about the Jungle Boy Private Party match. We don't have to dive too deep into this. I don't want to keep everybody too long, but I would be remiss if we didn't run down the card a little bit in JPJ fashion. I will do the best that I can because he is much better than I am at this. But we had the Christian program. We had Omega threaten to retire Christian Cage again. And then we had Jade Cargill and Kiera Hogan, which I know we talked about in the pre-show. Quick squash, I think it was 2 minutes. I feel bad for Kiera Hogan in that situation. I don't know if the CM Punk stuff kind of overshadowed maybe them having a little bit more time because the promo package would have kind of dictated that they had a little bit more of a story than a squash. Anything to add to the Jade Cargill Kiera Hogan match?
Oh.
I can't even speak. CM Punk is back, and I'm not going to sleep tonight.
You got to take some vitamins and say your prayers, and one day you might be able to say this name, brother.
But yeah, this was just kind of just a match. It was a quick, almost a squash, and I'd love to see more out of Kiera. Oh, now you got me doing it. Kiera Hogan, a little bit more out of her. They even mentioned Impact. She Knockouts Championship in her little title thing there. But yeah, I would love to see more out of her. But I think they are trying. Correct me if I'm wrong. They are trying to push Jay Cargill a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
So, but it's a little disappointing. But of course, with everything going on, you kind of had to do what you did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's really. You got to kind of watch it with these squash matches because sometimes I feel they can go in the opposite direction too. Sometimes when you have a really hot crowd, they can go either way. When they aren't necessarily into something, they could just quickly reject it, but they can also be quite supportive too. So it is a slippery slope. I think you got to give, in a crowd like Chicago, I don't know if that was the right idea, is to have a squash match, because if she had a more of a statement match, I think it makes her a bigger presence in a crowd like Chicago. If you went to Corpus Christi, which everybody knows they tend to, suck the life out of even the dead. But okay, do a squash match there, but in the hot crowds, you got to give them, you got to give them more, I think. The TV production is way better anyway.
Yeah, give us a little bit more of a showing out of Kiera if you're gonna put Cargill over. I definitely agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Anybody else?
No, that was I figured the Punk thing went a little bit over. That's probably why it ended up in a squash match, but.
We talked more about the Kiera Hogan Jade Cargill match than it actually lasted on TV.
Oh yeah.
They're trying to put Cargill over. I know what they were doing. They put her in front of 20,000 people, saying, "Hey, this is our next big thing. Be ready for it." So they squash us. Then we get a little backstage with Mark Henry, Daniel Garcia, and Jon Moxley. This is something I've wanted to see since they stared each other down at Dynamite a couple weeks ago. Garcia is fantastic in the ring. He's one of those young up-and-coming people that if you follow War Report, which this is a special War Report live, shout out to JPJ for letting me just take the reins to gush over CM Punk. This match was what it was. Moxley comes out. Garcia gets a little offense in. Moxley ends up, getting the win. There's no doubt he's winning that thing. And then it's a melee at the end, and Sting's in the ring. Darby's out there. It's just, Everrise 2.0, whatever you want to call them. I still call them Everrise. They're getting in the mix. And the CM Punk chant started a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I thought maybe he'd come out just for one last, I don't know, point at the proverbial all-out sign, and it didn't happen. Any thoughts on this matchup here in the main event of Rampage?
I felt it was a little sloppy, and maybe that was just because of the time that they had. Like I kept looking at the clock, like, oh, it's 10:50, and the match hasn't even started yet. So maybe they were rushing each other a little bit, but it was a match. I mean, they got Darby over at the end of it with the little run-in, little schmaz. I almost kept looking at the clock, and I was thinking, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? How can they finish this night off hot as they started it? And it was lukewarm for me. I mean, I'll admit it. They could have done a little something like having Punk come out, but it was what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I like the finish. The finish I thought was actually quite interesting, just with the this transition of the submission. I do think when Moxley gets amped, he can get a little, I don't want to say sloppy, but he gets a little ahead of himself, we'll say. But other than that, I don't know. I just, did anybody else find it weird that there was more baby faces and a beatdown of the heels?
I know,
yeah. There was 4 on 3.
Yeah.
But then, Kingston just didn't do anything. He just stood on the rope and just hey, and they're like, yep, you guys are doing it. Yep, cool. I'm going to let a 62-year-old, a guy that just jumps on people and doesn't look, and then my buddy over there that might knife someone, but we don't know yet. I'll just let them do the work.
Kinks has been through a lot in his life. Let the man have an easy payday once in a while.
Right.
He doesn't have to do all the work. And
but that's what I thought that was awesome about it. He's just like, no, I'm good. Everybody else is doing their thing.
Yes, Darnell. Jade did have her match. Quick 2-minute squash. Waffle Box Pod evening to you guys. They had me and JPJ on a couple weeks ago, so you should definitely go check those guys out doing big things. Astrid, anything to add to the main event before we wrap up?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing as Alex. I was looking at the clock. I'm like, 10 minutes for this match. I don't know if I wanted it to be 10 minutes. I wanted it to be longer than that. Yeah, I feel like it was going by pretty quickly, but I did like the ending with Moxie hitting the move like that, like basically almost out of nowhere, but it wasn't. I really liked how they finished it though, and I thought Punk was gonna come out to the end to obviously end it like that, like on a big hurrah kind of situation. And I was like, I'm waiting, and then the crowd chanting. I'm like, okay, is it happening now? Maybe now? No? Okay, not happening. Ending the show. So that part is the one that was lackluster for me at least. But other than that, it was fine.
I wonder if we'll see more of something on a Dynamite where they actually have a little bit more time to plant those seeds.
And I think they probably learned. I would imagine they learned a little bit from tonight that CM Punk, whether he's going to take some time. So I have to imagine Dynamite, they're going to carve this out a little bit better because it's an hour show, and Mox and Garcia, I think, rushed. I think all the matches after had to cut some stuff out to make this work because looking at the clock, like Alex and you guys said, it's 10:53, and I'm like, this match is just started. How are they going to do this? But not having CM Punk come out, don't burn the bridge, or not burn the bridge, but overextend, and then maybe he comes out after. I'll be interested to see if we get any fan videos of him coming out after that went off the air and maybe did some more stuff. But CM Punk is back in a major wrestling promotion. He is signed, sealed, delivered. I couldn't be happier. Before we get out of here, all I want to know is, what do you think? We'll go around the bend. CM Punk's ceiling AEW is. Alex, start us off.
Oh, it's blowing off the roof. We're going to see fantasy book matches that everybody has been talking about. Like, oh, who do you want to see Darby with? Well, we'd love to see CM Punk. Who do you want to see Kenny with? Oh, we'd love to see CM Punk. Now these things can actually be a reality. And we're all, like I said earlier, we're waiting with bated breath to see what's going to happen next. And it can only get better from here.
I think what we're going to see is we're going to see a show come to real life. We're going to see the elevation of a lot of young stars because he's a bona fide top talent in professional wrestling today. He's a big name. He's a draw. He's somebody that has done a little bit of crossover, whether it is through the MMA, whether it is through acting, whether it's writing with what is it, Marvel, I believe.
Marvel, yep.
And what's just interesting about CM Punk is that he still has the gift of gab. And because of the gift of the gab, he's going to be able to make everyone look good. I think a lot of people forget just how good he was in commentating when he was doing commentating for WWE and even in Ring of Honor. But if he's able to do a little bit of that, especially if a guy like Jericho is taking some time off, he's going to fill a void there, but he's also going to do a really great job of elevating not just talents, but taking them to the next level. And if he's able to do that, now WWE's in serious jeopardy, because now you're not worrying about just the Kenny Omegas, the Codys, the Young Bucks, maybe the Jerichos, but now you're worrying about like the Darby Allins. Maybe you're worrying a little bit more about the Ricky Starks. Maybe you're worrying a little bit more about the Jungle Boys of the world, because now they're going to be lifted to this tier that a lot of people might just said, hey, I don't know if Christian Cage can do it as much, but now you have CM Punk. He does change the game.
You mentioned Ricky Starks. That just got me excited. I love me some Ricky Starks. Astrid, what do you think CM Punk's ceiling is here in all elite wrestling?
I think if AEW was already getting hot, it's already going to get even hotter now. And like we were already, like some of us, I was a little doubtful at first. I'll say that, and I know a lot of people were online, but now that we've seen it, I feel like people are going to watch the show knowing he's probably going to show us, somehow and make his presence known. So that's the good thing, is now AEW is going to have that big payoff with the ratings. So people watching every week to see when Punk is going to come.
Yeah, AEW has absolutely nailed this promo thing. The fear of missing out. Like, you can watch the other shows and you can skim through them, but if you're not invested, like AEW, you might miss it. It's just, if you don't show up tonight, yeah, it's cool to watch it back, but man, just be there live and in the moment. Like, it's amazing. And then whatever they're doing is working. It's got me excited. It got me saying I have to do a war report at 11 o'clock at night on a Friday when I should be sleeping, yelling in my basement while my kids are sleeping. Sorry, honey. But he's back. I can't wait. We've got an absolute stacked lineup this week for wrestling, and this started us off hot, right? We got SummerSlam tomorrow night, which I know we're doing reacts for that. We got TakeOver Sunday. I know we got reacts.
We have a POS show tomorrow.
I'm getting there, Paris. I'm saving the champ for that. Maybe the champ main events on this show, dog.
No. People want to see the gold, baby.
Who are you taking on this? Are you taking on Spencer live from Vegas?
Spencer and your correspondent, JPJ, who are deciding. Well, I mean, he does do the war report with you.
I mean, like, my guy is challenging for the belt. We're taking it home between two beers.
I mean, they're both, they're cahooting a little bit, I think, in Vegas. They're like, you know what, let's put our chips together to try to, take the pop. But let me tell you something, I'm going to smoke them both under the water, because the champ is not scared of Vegas. Because what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. You know what doesn't happen in Vegas? Changing of the championship, brother.
Hey, I was rooting for you last time because Spencer and I we had our own little match, and I beat him too. So I know a little something about
we cashed in, and we didn't have to take a trip down to Sin City.
That's right. We didn't have to drown our sorrows. Now, as Ed says, it's now time to focus on SummerSlam and TakeOver. Ed, I am not focusing on that tonight. I am all CM Punk all the time. No matter. I don't even care if SummerSlam's happening tomorrow, man.
I do have a question to address.
Sure.
So we've got CM Punk in AEW, and we've seen what this crowd kind of did to these matches tonight. Is there potential that the electricity around CM Punk could potentially hurt AEW? As like overexposure is kind of what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, there's potential with it.
I wouldn't worry about Spencer bribing referees. You know how cheap he is. I bribe referees, Waffle Pot Squad. You back off. If that's Mike, I love you. I would say no. I think that this publicity is good publicity, and I think the crowd potentially taking over tonight's Rampage, if they didn't start with CM Punk, I think it's out of your system, right? I don't think Wednesday. I mean, Wednesday they might start off with some CM Punk checks, and Wednesday I think they're going to start with CM Punk again, get it out of your system. Then he wrestles. Eventually, it won't be this massive event, except to people like me who, like I said, would watch him wrestle a chair. It'll die down and it'll be good. And if he stays the course and he does his thing and AEW is good on whatever promises they made to him, I think it'd be nothing but a good time for everybody. And that's just me.
See, I would counter this to say, I wonder if we're going to see loud CM Punk chants tomorrow at SummerSlam, because I think the fans are going to be just saying, you know what, like, we do have a company that gives us what we want. So either give us what we want, or we just won't
hijack.
And like Rachel says here, any response is a good response, a loud response. Whether you're booing, whether you're cheering, the idea is just to be engaged. The worst thing you'd want is no engagement at all when you're out there. And well, that's just CM Punk is the best. I agree.
Well, we can all agree on that, yeah.
Well, and then here's just the thing, too. There's so many rumors about even Daniel Bryan coming into AEW, and we haven't even scratched the surface with that one, too. So just when the CM Punk buzz could not, I don't want to say die down because it won't die down, but when it starts kind of, okay, now we get comfortable that he's here kind of a situation, then you get back excited about Daniel Bryan. And then if WWE doesn't really resolve the Adam Cole scenario, then there's that as well. So AEW is going to be the talk of town possibly all September long.
There was a report out today that there is another signing on the heels of Bryan and Punk. You take that. I don't want to speculate too deep into it, but like you said, I think there's an Adam Cole out there. They could find some other ways. And the best thing that AEW has done, in my opinion, is they do not overuse their talent. Like, I was watching Dynamite, and MJF has only wrestled 16 times this year going into September. In the WWE, their guys are wrestling 50 times by that point. So MJF is still fresh, right? You get an MJF match, you're like, all right, tonight's going to be good. Moxley isn't wrestling weekly. So there's a way to keep cycling through even the talent you have now and keeping them fresh while bringing in this new talent, keeping the buzz going. And I think CM Punk, if he were to come in and derail everything AEW is doing to be, just to make it about him, that goes against everything he has said for the last 7-8 years, right? And I don't think he wants to do that. I would hope he doesn't want to do that. So,
well, too, that's a long time for somebody to have an initial thought process of where they are, and it can completely change to now. Like, I'm sure CM Punk's in a completely different headspace than what he was the day he left WWE, too. So I think a lot of people have to take that. Like, he's not the same guy back then that he is now. Mm-hmm. Like, he's completely different. You even see it with the gray in his little stubble there. There's a little bit more age added on, a little bit more maturity there for CM Punk.
Rachel dropping a comment. I'd like to get you guys. Do you think there'll be a cutoff period where AEW kind of closes the doors and says, "Oh, we've got too much talent"? What do you think on that, Astrid? You haven't said much. We've been. You think they're gonna ever shut the doors?
I wouldn't say shut the doors. Like, they have 4 shows technically, so try to make sure everybody takes their turns. You have enough talent to put everybody in the shows without having to repeat them. Like you said, like not recycling them, like having to wrestle every week. I would just make it a balance out of it. But I don't think that will close to like the point that they won't bring any more people. We'll just like balance who you have, though, at least.
They definitely could use more females on the roster. Yeah. If they're going to target some of that, then maybe a Ruby Soho comes over. Maybe you try to use that Forbidden Door and lurk like a Mickie James over. Maybe bring Deonna Purrazzo over for a couple showings. Maybe Tully Blanchard's daughter. You never know. There's speculation that she's in negotiations with someone. Also, when we're talking about another signee, it's not too long until the new Buddy Matthews could be in play in the wrestling world. Yeah. Check that out, because that's a good that's a good dude in pro wrestling there.
Alex, what about you?
I mean, to Astra's point, I would love to see more female wrestlers in AEW. There's definitely some hot talent, Ruby Soho, and if I can embarrass myself a little bit, definitely the Iconics would be just a great pickup for the company.
We gotta clip that, by the way.
But and like as
Ed,
far as
please
like,
clip that.
but as far as like their talent overall, like you've got shows like Dark that will highlight some of their talent, but also bring in some unsigned talent and showcase them and get their names out there. You've got Elevation where they, will showcase, like I said, showcase other talent and showcase some of their main talent. And you have now Rampage and Dynamite and their pay-per-views for their top tier, talent that they're just gonna, show us and have for us as long as we want them. Do they ever close the doors? Maybe, maybe not. It maybe crack it a little bit. Maybe we'll be a little more concerned with who and how many they bring in. But I don't think the doors will ever close for sure.
Yeah, you can definitely be a little bit more specific on who comes in now.
It's a waffle box point, Parrish. As long as they don't announce her as Tully Blanchard's daughter.
I'm letting you in a secret. I forgot the name and I just said daughter instead.
I think this is, I don't want to wrap it up after this. I think AEW, if you're going to let the Andrades, the Malachi Blacks, go, Daniel Bryans, you sign them. If you have the ability to sign them, you sign them, right? It's not so much I think that they're going to shut the door and not sign any more people. We have to understand, like, those are blue chip talent that any roster would kill for. So put them on your roster, figure it out. Plus, AEW's now been around for 3 years. Some of the deals, some of the younger talent, or some of the talent that they initially signed is going to come up. And I think you'll see some of them eventually, just go do other things or maybe get signed to stay on. I don't know. We'll see how AEW is going to play it because they're coming up on their first round of contracts being expired.
You also have some aging superstars in AEW. Yeah. You never know. At some point, they're going to say, okay, I'm good now. Maybe a couple dates here and there, but I'm not, I don't need this TV time anymore. Give it to another guy. And you got to make sure that that's done in the proper position.
Although I'm totally down with Malachi Black's next opponent being known as Arn Anderson's son. Yes. and on that
double standard, bro. Double standard.
I don't want to keep anybody. It is midnight where I'm from. I'm on a high. Let's go around the horn. Alex, tell them
Sean Spears the clock for me.
Sean Spears the clock. So it's a perfect 10. It's perfect 10. Alex, go around. Tell the people where they can find you, what you've got coming up.
You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. I've got great things coming on YouTube and Twitch. Definitely check me out at EctoGuy87, wherever there may be. I mean, OnlyFans. I'm sure I'll be on there someday.
I was actually going to make a joke about that. So I'm glad that you beat me to the punch.
I'm gonna get that hot tub meta going,
I think Alex and Parrish just became best friends.
Well,
Parrish, Love Wrestling Champion, let us know where they can find you, what you got going on. Show that belt off one more time. My God, it's beautiful.
What's the magic word?
Now, please.
Do it.
Do it now.
Do it now.
I'll give it an asterisk. Let's see if she can get the magic word.
Nope.
Cheese Wizard.
There we go. She's the only one that actually said one word. So there it is. There's what people could call my precious. But you can find me defending my precious on tomorrow at the POS show. I've never actually said it like that before, so sorry. But I'll do it, and I'll do it as much as I want. You're not even my real dad, okay? Be quiet.
Thanks.
But no, I'll be defending the title tomorrow at the POS show against Swan Spencer. Don't call me Neat Love. And then I'll be with again. He'll be putting some conspiracies in there as he needs JPJ's words of wisdom because his words of wisdom are just not good enough to become a champion. So I'll be taking on two men because Love Wrestling, the owner, has it out for me. It's not gonna work. And then I think we might even be doing a reacts tomorrow after SummerSlam. Maybe.
Yes, I believe we got reacts on the docket for SummerSlam Takeover. We got the POS show. We got a loaded weekend here.
But I do not think there's a blown off stream tomorrow night. I think that has been.
Unfortunately for me.
Unfortunately for Alex, yes, because of SummerSlam moving to Saturday. I think. No offense to anybody, blowing off stream is one of our.
See now shows. Vince is affecting our Twitch streaming. Weird, huh?
How dare he?
All right, Astrid, what do you got going on? Where can we find you?
I'm on Twitter, Astrid Pizarro. I actually recorded a podcast with one of my friends today, Aaron Nix. So I'll be on the WrestlePlug podcast coming up soon. So watch out for that. Awesome. I'll probably be on the predictions and the reacts tomorrow, and probably for Takeover too. And we'll report for NXT next week as well. So a little bit of everything going on.
Heck yeah. And I, of course, am Pluggo. You all know me from Between Two Beards Thursday nights at 8:30. And I pop up on the War Report AEW for the time being on Wednesday nights. And little things like this, I pop up wherever. You never know where you're going to find me. But thank you all for joining. Make sure you stop over at lovewrestling.ca. Check out everything we're doing. Get you one of these at the Love Wrestling shop. If you ain't got one, get one.
I need one.
You gotta get one.
It's right here.
We'll get
they come with these.
And we got stickers. We got masks. If you're out in Vegas this weekend, say hi to JPJ and Spencer as they're doing their thing. Until next time, guys, the War Report is out. Peace.